All right, so this is The Artist Way, Week 7, Recovering a Sense of Connection. Okay, so of all of the chapters I've read so far, this one hit me the hardest. Like, I just felt so visceral reading this chapter. The topics that it talked about were perfectionism and jealousy, and ooh, it hit really hard. So I feel like I have always felt this pressure to be perfect and ahead of the curve. And it has prevented me from especially my self tapes from just doing, you know? A lot of times I feel so caught up in my head and my face has to look a certain way, or I have to sound a certain way, or it needs to be perfect, or this and that in the process of trying to curate my work to make it appealing, I lose the artistry and I lose the humanity sometimes. Even in my writing, with my screenplay Imposter Syndrome, I just found myself continuously editing and revising and just at some point you just need to let it be what it's gonna be. So that really shook me up. It also talks a lot about jealousy, and it's interesting, it actually says jealousy can be a good driving force and a motivator, which I agree, but then also it is the thief of joy. And it had us do a jealousy chart, where you wrote who you were jealous of, why you were jealous of them, and what you could do to make yourself not jealous. And I found that the common denominator of what I could do to make myself not jealous of other people is to just be myself. I often have a tendency to see someone who, I mean, I'm sure others have this too, obviously, but I'll see someone who kind of looks similar to me or fits a certain vibe, and I will tell myself that they are me, but just better. You know what I mean? And all the things that I want, they're gonna get. And because they exist, I'll never make it. Which I've been on a journey, unlearning this mentality and trusting that I am who I am and I have things that make me special and I have things that are unique to me. And we're all just very different, distinct humans. And I think it's unfair to compare ourselves to other people in such mirroring way. We do not mirror each other in the way we think we do, is something that I'm learning. So let's talk about the events this week. This was a very busy week. I want to talk about Wednesday. Wednesday, I took the day off work to go to 2 auditions, and both went terribly. So the first was, by the way, I'm okay. It's okay that it went terribly because I learned a lot. The first was an EPA for a show, and the guy directing it was a famous guy. I don't even want to say his name, but it was a famous actor. So already I was really, really nervous because I'm oh my God, I'm auditioning for this guy. So I'm non-equity, so I got there at 7 in the morning and I ended up getting seen at 4:30 p.m. And while I'm waiting, people are coming out of the audition room saying oh my God, the pianist is horrible, and just being so viscerally upset at the pianist. But in my head, I'm how bad could it be? If it's really that bad, I'll just keep singing and everything will be fine. So at this point, I've been waiting all day and I am ready to deliver a great audition. I had practiced, my voice was super warmed up, I felt just in my body and completely ready to give it my all and just excited to audition and perform. I was in the perfect headspace for success. I go into the audition, I talk to the pianist, I give him my music, and he starts playing and he literally jumps 5 bars ahead of me, and then my song modulates So he's playing in a different key while I'm singing in another key, and it sounds like I'm sharp, and then I end up going higher, and it was just so bad. Like, it was just blatantly bad. And I know they know it wasn't my fault because the pianist was like objectively like really not very good. However, I felt very upset because I felt like my time had been wasted because I had been waiting all day and I was so ready to deliver such like a good audition, and it's just, I feel like nothing ever is aligning, you know, where I could, like, I'm ready to give a good audition, but then there's that factor that like I just that was really frustrating. I came home from that audition and I had a literal tantrum. I was like stomping around the house and I was like, fuck, fuck, fuck. Like, like I'm so mad. Like I felt so mad. Damn. So then later that night I had a call back, and this was completely my bad, my mistake, because I fucked this up. But I had like sent an email of like my reel and material for something that I thought was a New Works project. It was called Fugitive Songs, and they sent the callback material like the day before the audition, and I had like tried to teach it to myself like by plunking out the notes on like the piano. So I get to the audition and I'm like, okay, like in my head I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm gonna be really ahead because I got that music degree, I'm gonna like do well. I'm listening outside the door and guys are going in and like singing everything like perfectly. And I'm like, okay, this is interesting. So I go into the audition room and immediately I see the director and I say, oh, are you the composer of this material? And he's like, no. So I was like, okay, interesting. Like, cause he seemed so taken aback that I thought he was the composer. So anyway, I deliver like the song. I sing the first song, which actually goes pretty well. Then I sing the second song, which is a total disaster. But they call me back again for the first character I sang for and gave me like a new song to learn in the hallway. And in my head, I'm like, fuck, how am I gonna learn this like New Work song in 5 minutes? Or 10 minutes. So I go to the hallway and I'm like, hey, does anybody like know this song? Like, does anyone a really good sight reader? To which I find out that this actually is not New Works material. This is a song cycle that already existed. And I had like tried to teach it all to myself without actually listening to it. And I felt so bummed because I feel like I could have actually knocked this audition out of the park if I had like known that this was not a New Work. This was like stuff I could have listened to and taught myself that way. I just felt so stupid and so frustrated. You know, it's like you get the opportunity and then like you just fuck it up. So anyway, I left that audition. I called some of my friends panicking and like, fuck, did I like, is this terrible? Like, how bad is this? To which they all calmed me down. Anyway, so those are my 2 auditions. This week, I am having another day of auditions on Wednesday, and I am hoping that it goes better this time. As for my screenplay, I don't know like anything for official, but I think I might be in quarterfinals for a certain large screenwriting competition. I haven't gotten the official email, but quarterfinals were supposed to be announced on this past Thursday, and they haven't posted anything, they haven't sent any emails, but my application says in consideration, so I haven't been knocked out yet, which makes me think that I could be in quarterfinals for this. Fingers crossed, knock on wood. So that, like, I can't celebrate that yet, but I really need a win, and that would be really awesome. The guy that I mentioned last week that the director that I was gonna get coffee with, couldn't get coffee last week, but we're rescheduling to this week. So I'm really excited to meet him, and well, not meet him, I already met him, but I'm excited to finally talk to him and pick his brain. I was experiencing a lot of feelings of just feeling lost this week, like feeling like, what if I'm doing all of this for nothing? You know what I mean? What if I'm, wasting my time, or like, I don't know. We're gonna figure it out. Everything's gonna be fine. Let's talk about some of these tasks. So I had to also, like, my Totoro notebook. All right. I had to like fill in the blank for these phrases. All right. So I'm going to share with you what I wrote. As a kid, I missed a chance to get formal training. I've noticed that every little inch counts, and a lot of people have been training at this their entire lives. As a kid, I lacked focus. As a kid, I could have used an acting coach and some dance lessons. As a kid, I dreamed of being on stage. As a kid, I wanted a friend. In my house, we never had enough peace. As a kid, I needed more discipline and freedom. I'm sorry, I will never again see my youth. For years, I have missed and wondered about what my career would look like if I got the early start others have. I beat myself up about the loss of my college years. I think back to college and like, I wish I had written. Like, I wish, like, the stuff I'm trying to do, like my screenplay, which I'm now writing into a play, I wish I had finished that in college so I could have had an easy time to get it up on its feet. But now, as an adult, it's so much more difficult, and I'm noticing a lot of people from other universities had that chance to create, and I could have created, and I did it, and now I'm trying to figure out, how do I make this happen as an adult with no one? Okay, so here's some positive stuff. I have a loyal friend in Pooja, my best friend who I live with. One thing I like about my town or my city is the constant stimulation. I think I have nice energy. Writing my morning pages has shown me that I can honor my toxic thoughts and emotions. I am taking a greater interest in focusing on my craft rather than making money. I believe I'm getting better at trying. That is true. I feel myself trying. My artist has started to pay more attention to my time. My self-care is climbing. I feel more dreams awakening. Possibly, my creativity is the answer. I really like that. That was very positive. It had me write my 5 favorite films, which are Spirited Away, Narnia, Journey to the Center of the Earth, Challengers, and Harry Potter. So, okay, with like all of them except for Challengers, I love just like a film that makes me feel like I'm escaping from reality, going to a fantasy world. Like, I always wish that, I don't know, like maybe magic train tracks would appear at like the park and I'd hop on some kind of night train and it would take me to a magical world. I've always dreamed of that. Challengers is up there because I just found that movie really juicy and really sexy, and I really enjoyed it. It had me repeat this mantra. It wanted me to write it somewhere in the room, but I just never had time to make it out. Anyway, treating myself like a precious object will make me strong. I like that. Oh, it said give yourself time to listen to one side of an album and like doodle and sketch like while you listen to it. So I listened to Lisa Ono, like one of her bossa nova albums, and it was lovely. Like, I opened my window and felt the breeze, and I drew like a snail under like a big leaf with raindrops falling on it. It was a lot of fun. It told me to take myself into a sacred space. I wanted to go into a church. As I was saying last video, like, I just felt just very like close but also far from God, and I haven't been to church in so long, and I wanted to find time to take a moment to go into the church and just meditate and just be there. I don't know how religious I am, but I just wanted to experience that, but the odds were not in my favor. Create a wonderful smell in your house. So I like washed all my sheets and I like burned some incense. It had me wear a favorite item of clothing for no special reason, which I did yesterday. Had me make a collage. It said to do like it on magazines, but I just like made a Pinterest collage for my past, my present, and my future. It had me name my favorite topics I like to read about, which I guess I could share that. Why not? My favorite topics to read about: 1, the downfall of my enemies; 2, Pokemon and Nintendo related things; 3, people's success stories; 4, scientific discoveries about space, our planet, and animals; and then 5, doomsday apocalyptic things. I have a weird thing where I always have dreams about the apocalypse, like all the time. That's probably related to something, I don't know what. But anyway, my artist date this week was really wonderful. I took myself to see a Broadway show. I saw Maybe Happy Ending, and I hadn't seen a Broadway show in a minute. And it was beautiful. It was just so simple and so impactful and so clever and pure. I just felt so inspired watching that story, and I felt myself weep, which something I've noticed from doing this whole experience is I'm feeling so emotional and gooey about art again, and so much less jaded and just so much more appreciative. I was so grateful to witness that. I did standing room, so I was just standing in the back, just so wide-eyed and sobbing and gooey, and I just feel so inspired about a lot of the art that's being made. This week is going to be an interesting week. As I told you, I have auditions on Wednesday. I'm re-meeting with the director for Coffee, and I also have the premiere of the film that I shot last year in November on Saturday, which I am really excited about. And I can't believe we're entering week 8, which is gonna be recovering a sense of strength, which I definitely could use some strength right now. This has been fun, just getting to talk into the void and, you know, put my thoughts out there. I can't wait to see how things work out, and I can't wait to see what the universe and God throws my way this week. All right. Okay. Bye. Have a good day.